Why would I be making such a video on an upcoming game that has been announced almost 5 years ago with its announcement trailer and almost 3 years ago with its reveal trailer? Well, first of all, because I'm out of content. I mean, come on, E3 2021 just passed on, so I have to find something. And second, because this game right here has just shown brand new signs that it is alive as we speak and very far into development, along with some new details including its extremely advanced game engine, how realistic it will be even though it is a fantasy setting, and more. The upcoming PS5 and PC game Project Awakening had been completely silent for 2 years now, with E3 2019, but the developers of this mysterious project recently had an exclusive interview on the Famitsu website, where it reveals that yes, Project Awakening is coming and looking better than ever, and it'll look beautifully different. Before we get into all of that great stuff, for those who didn't know, Project Awakening is said to be an open world fantasy action RPG where you can explore a beautiful torn down world either alone in a single player story or with up to 12 people in co-op, with each player having their very own unique character that all have their own weapons, armor, and so on. On the realistic side of things, having different kind of armor or weapon usage will give you different abilities, as we could call them. The developers hate the word abilities as they're not gonna use this in Project Awakening, but will instead depend on what the player is capable of. If the player has an heavy armor with an heavy sword, it will get more muscular and beefy, thus will be able to hit harder and carry more equipment, as opposed to a thinner character who will be faster and more agile. There is no abilities here. The developers really intend on focusing the game more heavily on action elements as opposed to the RPG side of things, with abilities, numbers, and health bar above people's head, which for me, in my opinion, is 100% better. I love more realistic games like these without the RPG elements. The game is expected to feature seamless travel from the world of the outside into dungeons and other indoor areas. The multiplayer mode may support anything from 4 to 12 players. It is not yet clear if the game will include magic since it is a more realistic game, but the creators are thinking on it. Now let's get into this new interview from this project. First of all, yes, the game is alive and doing very well, and it is being created with the Silista game engine, a unique engine purposely created for this very project. The developer mentions that Project Awakening and the Silista game engine are being developed fully in tandem, so the direction of the game's development influences that of the engine and vice versa in all the best ways to create an immersive and beautiful experience. In fact, this developer is at the helm of both projects at the same time. He keeps in mind both what he wants to achieve technically and with the game. He believes that as someone in a technical role, wanting to make an engine never seen before doesn't make much sense on its own, disjoint from wanting to create a fun game. On the other hand, as a director focusing on the game, he would not be able to make full use of the capabilities of the engine if he did not keep in mind the technical side. Well, good news, he understands all of that, so it is now fully possible for him and the rest of the team to create both a unique engine and incorporate it all into Project Awakening. The game is being developed with the aim of a realistic look without the many little colors all on our screen to attract a more younger audience. The game will be grounded and gritty, not like Monster Hunter for example, so the engine is being adjusted to further that goal. The original aim was to create the ultimate engine for AAA games, so it's designed to support large-scale development. Currently, a team of about 100 people is working on it and has been for a pretty long while now, so the game is bound to be looking pretty impressive. This engine is said to include photorealistic graphics, which Shy Games, the developers, have absolutely never done before, but it is an exciting task to do. When it becomes fully operative, it'll enable the company to develop more realistic games with a focus on beautiful lighting. Here's what we know so far from this project. Project Awakening is pitched as the game that will help Side Games penetrate into the Western market. It is an open world game that allows you to play with your friends and fight together. The team is trying to balance story and gameplay so that there is an even split between them. Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones were inspirations for Project Awakening. The game is still heavily in development and will be released on as many platforms as possible, including the next generation of consoles. The trailer that was released, as we see here, envisions about 1% of what the game will be like once development has concluded. The game has a very large scope that goes beyond just a big world. It is filled with different unique locations and really feels like something natural and different. Side Games wants a lot of things for you to do in that world. Visiting dungeons and new areas will be absolutely seamless. You do not load into them. The game features different classes, outfits, gear, and items. There will also be skills in the game. The team are experimenting with co-op play of 4 and 12 players. Implementing magic and guns is being discussed within the team but not yet introduced. But this news was more than a year ago, so right now they have most definitely introduced it or just not. So it shouldn't be more than a year again that we'll hear more about Project Awakening, I hope. The game might definitely be very far in development and ready to show something soon. And since they want to release the game on as many consoles as possible while keeping the game updated, I would love to see it released on PS5, Xbox Series X and PC. Let me know if you guys are excited for it, and make sure you stay tuned on the channel by subscribing for more content on this upcoming project. I'll talk to you all very soon. Thanks to Richard Westfall, Bruce Rain 236, Thunderbeard, Kianzo Fagari, Rickno23, Diamond Hunter 45, Themistocles, Spacebeard Gaming, and Rush Singbati for being a master member on the channel. You can become a survivor member for as low as 99 cents only by clicking the join button below. This will support me and the channel as a whole to continue making videos on the games that truly deserve it.